The Great Square of Brussels, known as Grand Place or Grote Markt in Flemish, is one of the most emblematic places in the capital of Belgium and an outstanding example of European medieval and Baroque architecture. This historic square has witnessed centuries of significant events, from coronations and celebrations to battles and revolutions. Today, the Grand Plaza is a tourist destination that attracts millions of visitors each year, not only for its stunning beauty, but also for its deep cultural and historical significance. Join us as we explore the history and importance of this unique place in the heart of Brussels. The history of the Grand Place begins in the Middle Ages, when Brussels was established as an important commercial center. During the 12th and 13th centuries, the square began to take shape as a public space where merchants, artisans, and travelers gathered to exchange goods and services. At that time, the square was the convergence point of various trade routes that connected northern Europe with the south. At first, the square was not as monumental as we know it today. It was a simple place, surrounded by wooden houses, but as the centuries passed, the importance of Brussels grew, and with it, the need to provide the city with a central square that reflected its prosperity. Throughout the 14th and 15th centuries, the square began to take on a more solid shape, surrounded by stone buildings that reflected the economic and political power of the city. In the 16th century, Brussels underwent a series of important transformations. It was during this period that the Great Plaza established itself as the center of the city's political and social life. In 1477, the square was chosen as the site of the wedding between Mary of Burgundy and Maximilian of Austria, an event that strengthened Brussels' position within the Habsburg Empire. During this time, the Great Plaza was also the scene of several processions, public events, and royal celebrations. Citizens of Brussels gathered in the square to watch parades, hear important announcements, and witness events such as the coronations of monarchs. In addition, the square became the meeting place for merchants, who came en masse to negotiate in the market. The 17th century witnessed one of the most traumatic events in the history of the Great Place: the destruction caused by the French invasion. In 1695, the troops of King Louis XIV of France bombarded Brussels, and much of the city, including the buildings around the Grand Place, was destroyed. This attack left a deep mark on the city, but also gave way to a new renaissance. Despite the devastation, reconstruction of the Great Plaza began soon after, under the direction of local architects. Damaged buildings were restored. The square adopted its current appearance, with a mix of architectural styles, from Gothic to Baroque. During this time, the square became the center of aristocratic life in Brussels. Many of the buildings surrounding it today are former guild buildings and merchants' houses reflecting the city's economic boom at the time. Throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the Grand Place remained a center of political and social activity, but it also became a symbol of Brussels' resistance to foreign invasions. During the Napoleonic Wars, when French troops occupied Belgium, the square was the scene of several uprisings and resistance movements. The inhabitants of Brussels gathered here to protest against the invading authorities and fight for their independence. Despite the difficulties, the square remained a symbol of Brussels' identity and pride, and was recognized as an important monument in the city's history. The 20th century was a time of great change for the Great Square of Brussels. In 1936, the square was officially declared a national monument of Belgium, and its cultural and architectural importance began to be recognized internationally. In 1998, the Great Square was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, a recognition that consolidated its status as one of the most important places in Europe. Today, the square is known for its stunning architectural beauty, vibrant cultural life, and its role as a center of tourist attractions in Brussels. The square is surrounded by some of the city's most iconic buildings, such as the Brussels Town Hall, the King's House building, and the Old Guild houses, displaying a variety of architectural styles ranging from Gothic to Gothic, Rococo, and Baroque. Today, the Grand Place remains the beating heart of Brussels. Not only is it a popular tourist site, but it also hosts a large number of cultural events, such as concerts, exhibitions, and the famous floral tapestry, held every 2 years in August. During this event, the square is covered with a tapestry of fresh flowers, a tradition that attracts thousands of visitors. The square is also the scene of various festivals, national celebrations, and political demonstrations. The architecture of the square, with its ornate details, gilded facades, and intricate sculptures, remains a testament to Brussels' glorious past and a reminder of its resilience and capacity for renewal. The Great Square of Brussels is much more than just a square. It is a symbol of the city's resilience, a meeting point of cultures, a reflection of its history, and a reminder of the events that have shaped Belgium and Europe in general. From its beginnings as a medieval market to its current status as a World Heritage Site, the Grand Place has remained the nerve center of life in Brussels, a place full of history, beauty, and meaning.
If you want to see other interesting stories, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Frank Fernandez Historia,